So the sound of the plane overhead has inaugurated the session for us. As I was coming up to here, I was with Amandeep. He was with some Air Force personnel till yesterday. And coincidentally, here is the sound of the aircraft. So it happened once. It happened once that a pilot was sent to bomb an enemy land. And his plane was flying high. And from that height, all that he could see was enemy land. Enemy land. He happened to have very sophisticated technology, cameras of good resolution with him. After all, he's an Air Force pilot. So he started looking a little more closely at the enemy land. Now there were fields, roads, rivers. He looked a little more closely, a little more sharply. And now there were buildings, groups of men, houses, animals. He said, before I bomb this place, I want to have an even closer look. And now it was about the faces of men. Distinct, individual faces. Men, women, children, girls, boys, old people, people walking, kids playing, animals grazing. It was no more just enemy land. It became difficult for him to bomb the place. The people, the land, the structures that he was about to bomb could be bombed only till they were conveniently wrapped up in one name. And when you do not get into this business, this trap of naming, then it becomes difficult for you to continue in the ways you have already and always continued. The topic for today is the false is truer than the truth. I want to invite you to ask, what is really the truth for us when we say truth or when we say Brahman? or when we say self, or the Atman, or Satya. What is it? By giving it a name, have we not made it into our own land, familiar land, if not enemy land? And the moment something is brought within the domain of language, is it not the same old routine? Is it not the same old pattern of the mind? You see, when we talk of the truth, we talk, or at least we claim that we are talking of something beyond the sensory experience, something beyond space and time. But is it possible to verbalize something beyond space and time? We say we worship God, or that we are devoted to the formless. But the moment any mental activity happens, even in the name of the formless, even in the name of the transcendental, even the slightest mental activity is at the same domain as the rest of the mental game, as any other mental activity. It has to be understood that the beyond, that ostensibly attracts us so much, cannot be chased, let alone obtained, using the same ways of the mind that we deploy in our other pursuits. The mind has no capacity at all to go directly into the beyond. I repeat, the mind has no capacity at all to go directly into the beyond. The mind itself is a product of evolution, of conditioning, of layers upon layers of stuff that it has accumulated. And whenever the mind will operate, even if it is trying to operate in a holy domain, whenever the mind will operate, it will operate in its own limited sensory domain. It will never be able to go beyond that. Which means that any descriptions of truth, of Brahman, any verbalizations, even the slightest naming, is bound to spoil everything. But that is what the mind wants. That is what the ego loves. Because deep within, we all feel a hollow. We all feel a desperate need to reach somewhere. We want to claim that we have some kind of proximity, even some kind of control over Godhood. That pleases the ego. We want to be able to say that we know something about the truth. But the truth is not knowledge. The truth cannot be known through processes of memory and accumulation and analysis in the same ways as other information is gathered. Listening to this does not please the mind, it hurts the ego. And it hurts especially those who have devoted years after years chasing the beyond. What is the mind to do then? The only recourse available to the mind is to humbly operate in its own domain. What is the mind designed to do? The mind is designed to look at the world. The mind is designed to observe. The power of sharpness is available to the mind. And that is what the mind must engage itself in. Looking clearly, sharply at the universe, the world, the self, and the relationship of the self, the individual, with the world. What is it that I do from morning till evening? What is the nature of the universe? What is the quality of my relationships? What is knowledge? What is this thing called being born? Why do people work? What is working? What is this thing about genders? What is this thing called movement? Why is everybody moving? These are the questions that the mind is well and truly equipped to handle. Handle not in the sense of getting any final answers, but at least in the sense of observing them. Observing without claiming that it knows the answers, observing without naming. The moment there is a verbalization, the whole process of thought starts. But traditionally, the seeker of truth has taken another route. He says, I will shun the world, have not much to do with the world, and I will devote myself to the pursuit of truth. You ask him, what do you want? He says, Brahma. You ask him, what are you investing yourself towards? You seem to have left normal worldly life. There is surely something else that is now your goal. What is it? He said, Satya. You ask him, who are you? He says, pure self. Humbly, I want to say that this simply cannot work. Whether you say that you are a European, a Hindu, a husband, a gardener, or a butcher, or whether you say that you are pure self, you are saying the same thing because you are operating in the domain of knowledge. The one who claims to be pure self is at exactly the same level and is operating in exactly the same dimension as the one who says that I am a Christian wife. Just another identification. And it is a great trap of mind to claim that when you talk of yourself as truth or Brahman, then it is not identification. It is just another identification because you are still naming. And naming comes from evolutionary experience, and conditioning is in the domain of thought and verbalization. The moment the mind will try to touch the truth, it will bring the truth down to its own level. Because the mind has no way of reaching up. It is a machine designed to do a particular task. Now, does that mean that the situation is totally bleak? Does that mean that we have no way available to us? No, it does not mean that. Rather, it means that no way is needed. The mind can coolly, free of care, continue to do what it must do, what it is designed to do. And what is it that it must do? It must live, it must operate, it must know the world. It must know the same world which the sadhak has often rejected as false. It must carefully, humbly, and gladly go into its everyday experiences. If I am listening, am I listening with attention? Do I feel an urge to look here and there? Am I forming opinions? Am I comparing what the speaker is saying to what I have heard before? Am I glad that what the speaker is saying sounds familiar to me? Am I not liking it that what the speaker is saying is going against my beliefs? What is it that is happening right now? The mind has full capacity to go into this. And only this is the legitimate function of mind, to go into the false. And I'm calling it false only because it has been traditionally called as false. Let the mind go fully, deeply into the false. Let it be immersed. Let it be submerged. Let it be drowned in the false. The problem arises only when there is separation, only when there is distance. Separation is duality, distance is duality. When the mind goes very close to the happening, to the world, to all its experiences, then duality vanishes. The vanishing of duality is the emergence of another domain. Without asking for it, without chasing it directly, now one has come upon another dimension. One need not name that dimension. In fact, when you really come to it, it is impossible to name it. The instance of really coming to the truth is an instance of such unity, such immersion, that you will forget all about truth. Because whatever you remember about truth are just your concepts about truth. Till the time you remember even T of truth, surely the truth eludes you. And when it is really there, all you will say is, it is new. And if it is new, how can it have a name? A name can be given only to that which is recurring, which is old and stale, of which you have had previous experiences. A name can be given only when something is within the domain of time. When the truth really happens, then memory is unable to identify it. And this inability is not a kind of helplessness. This inability is bliss. Please understand this. You feel no need to name it. Every need is a kind of suffering. In your deepest moments of peace, there is no need to call the moment as peaceful. When you are really loving, at that moment you won't be talking about love. Yes, you would be living it, breathing it. Your every action would be love. But you will forget everything about a word that begins with L. In fact, you might be thinking of other things. That is what you must do. That is what the mind must do. Think of other things. It's a small little petty machinery, the mind. Let it think of other things, small things, petty things. Let it engage itself in the daily humdrum matters. Strangely, it happens that what you call as the truth is the most unavailable to those who want it. By wanting it, they make it distant. By going after it, they keep getting away from it. And this entity that you call as truth is easily, spontaneously, naturally always available to those who simply abide in their nature. You see, we want so many things. Please understand. Is there a fundamental difference between wanting a piece of bread or a new job or a new wife and wanting God? Yes, we would want to claim that, and it pleases us to claim that there is in fact a fundamental difference. But is there really a fundamental difference? All desires originate from an inner perception of incompleteness. Is incompleteness our nature? Incompleteness is not our nature. So all desires originate from a point which is removed from our nature. All desires, including the God desire. God is anyway already and always available. Appearing unavailable only to those who call it unavailable and hence want it. Can you want something without first declaring it unavailable? If something is readily there, always there, running in your blood, flowing in and out with the breath, is there a reason to desire it, want it, and devise 1,001 methods to go up to it? Is there a reason? There is no reason really. Like any other desire, this desire too rests on a fundamental misperception. That fundamental misperception is that there is something lacking in life. When you are afraid, you turn to God. When you want to rise higher, you turn to God. When you have been cheated, you turn to God. When you want to be hopeful, you turn to God. Really, with all these things taken away, would you turn to God or truth? If you are simply all right, would you really talk about the truth? Look at temples. When do you find the maximum crowds there? What kind of mind is most likely to visit a temple? In your own experience, when have you seen people turning to the scriptures? It is when the mind is restless and agitated, and there is a feeling of loss, or there is an expectation of gain. Loss in the world, gain in the world. With these things happening in the world, you want to turn to God or truth. When you are not all right with the world, that is when you start talking of truth. Is that something that we would want to see and acknowledge? It is only when the world is not quite all right for us that the mind wants to turn to an alternative called the truth. That is what the truth is for the mind, an alternative to the world. But given that the mind can operate only in the world, that alternative is just another world, not something beyond the world. For the mind, as we have repeatedly said today, lacks the means to go beyond. So, not contented with the world, the mind turns to the beyond. Won't it be far more intelligent to rather inquire into what is it about this world that gives me the impression of dissatisfaction? Because being dissatisfied is really not my nature. Yet I am feeling dissatisfied on account of my relationship with this world. Now I have two options. Either I can turn towards the truth, which would always be my concept of the truth. Please understand this. Given that you and I, as mortal human beings, are not well settled, most of us are not really all right with their circumstances, with their mind, with their relationships, with their situation in the society, with their economic status. Most of us are not quite contented with that. And since we are not contented with that, we turn towards God. We have two options. Don't we have these two options? One is to turn away. The second is to turn into that which is causing us grief. My job, my means of livelihood, my beliefs, my ideologies, my relationships are the source of my suffering. Should I rather not go closer to them? My children or my husband or my wife cause grief to me. And every time I am pained, should I go and bury my head in the scriptures? Should I start reciting shlokas? Should I rush towards a temple? Should I escape to a forest or a hill? Or should I gather some courage and ask myself, why am I in this relationship? What is this relationship all about? The thought of future scares me. I have tried all worldly means of security. I have collected money, I have insurance, I have networked a lot, hoping that these people might help me in the future. And yet the thought of future keeps haunting me. Now, should I arrange for another way of security called God? So I have insurance, I have money, I have a house and other property, and I have relationships, I have networked a lot, and as a backup option I also have God. If everything else fails, then for my security I have God. Should I try this, or should I rather go into the very fact of insecurity? What is it that makes me insecure? What is this thing called insecurity? I'm asking you because that's what we want to do. We say those 6 things that I otherwise use for my security are worldly things. And this 7th thing that I am using is transcendental. It is something mystical. And then I say when everything else would fail, then this 7th one would come to my rescue. That 7th one is as much a part of your mental makeup as are the other 6. Why are we duping ourselves? You know, man is the only creature who can cheat himself. The only animal who loves to make a fool of himself. Even God agrees. Let the mind go into what it is experiencing continuously. This looking, this going into, this intelligent observation is the truth. Truth is not an object that the mind can know. Truth is not a subject that knowledge can gather. Truth is that which empowers your very observation. Truth is that which empowers the observation to sublime into understanding. Truth cannot be known. Truth is that which enables you to know. And this is the fundamental mistake that we often make. We want to know the truth. And such is our language as well, is it not? We say, tell me the truth. Had we been an evolved people, we would have said, tell me in truth. We would have said, stand in truth and tell. And now whatever you will tell will be all right. Stand in truth and tell. But we say, tell me the truth, not tell me in truth. And this is supposed to be a perfectly normal statement. Tell me the truth. And wonder of wonders, there are people who have succeeded in telling the truth. And they claim to be greater people than us mere mortals. They say, we have known the truth and we are telling it. Is truth something to be told? Is light something to be seen? Has anybody ever seen light? Or is light that which enables you to see? But because the ego operates only with respect to objects, hence we like to objectify everything. So we have objectified truth. We have objectified God. We have objectified love. I would request, simply forget the truth, because whatever you remember about truth is just your notion of the truth. And that is your burden. That is the barrier between you and the real. The Upanishads have put it beautifully. They say, after saying everything else that they have to say, they say, please forget us. Can you please totally forget us? This forgetting is the essence of spirituality. Can you please forget everything that you know about truth, God, love, freedom? And when you have forgotten everything that you carry by way of memory, then that comes in front of you, which anyway already is. But when you are remembering much, then you are living in memory. Then all you see is memory. There is just godliness all around, but you are totally shrouded in your memory. You cannot see. It would be totally available, within and without, completely available, yet you would find that it is not available to you. It is not available to you because you have made an image of it. Because you have claimed that you know it. Or you have claimed that you do not know it. Even the claim of not knowing is a kind of knowledge. Hence, the thing has to be forgotten in totality. Neither do I know it, nor do I not know it. And if I say anything about knowing or not knowing, it is sacrilege. Hence, I am totally silent on the issue. This silence is that. When the mind humbly drops into silence, this silence is that. The mind does not like being silent. It wants to say something. Sometimes it wants to say, oh, I am so thirsty. Peace eludes me. At other times, it wants to say, I have received peace, I have received peace, I am a jnani. Whether you say that you have not received it, you have been missing it, or whether you say that you have received it, in both these cases you are unnecessarily inviting yourself trouble. Simply don't say anything. Forget totally. Just forget. Just forget. Whatever you will remember will be trivial, and hence this forgetfulness is divine. Just forget. Humbly accept that whatever you remember, whatever you know by way of knowledge, whatever is the content and stuff and of your mind is just petty, nonsensical, foolish. Forget it. Forget it even if it has been labeled as holy. Forget it even if it has been labeled as spiritual or religious or divine. And you are emptied. You are emptied of all that which stains you, all that which corrupts you and makes you suffer. Live simply. Be direct. Operate from innocence. If you do not like something, do not chase a substitute. First of all, see what is this thing called dislike. Don't be eager for change. You say you want to change something, and God is often a method to achieve the ultimate change. That is how the consciousness of man uses God, a means of change. Don't be in a hurry to bring change. You are the one who is trying to bring about change, right? Your expectation is that after the change has come, you will enjoy the change. Please go into the very impossibility of trying to change. You are the one who plan for change. But you expect that even after the change has come, this you, the planner, would still remain the same. And if it would still remain the same, where is the question of change? Don't rush towards something. Don't try to find something else because there is nothing else. There is nothing else but this that you see with your senses. For you, as you are, there is only duality. Don't repudiate, don't reject. Just see that as far as I go, there is only this, the mortal universe. When you have gone close to it, without rejection, without hope, without expectation of something else, of something beyond, then you find that the essence of all this is that. That is not something of the beyond. In fact, calling it the beyond is to make it distant. That is not something of the beyond. That is this. That is this. Before I started speaking, the Shanti part was recited here. What is the Rishi of the Upanishad saying? Purnamidah Purnamidam. That and this both are complete. The same completeness that you are thirsty for. This and that, have that. It is not to be found somewhere else. It is to be found in this and that, are the routine matters. The teacup, the slippers, the honking of the traffic, the peacock outside, the setting of the sun. It is here in all this. Here, not in some special place, not in some special scripture, not in some special activity. And if you cannot find it here, in all this, then you will not find it anywhere. You will have to stop looking elsewhere. You'll have to be more honest and look directly at your day-to-day, moment-to-moment life. Why did I just smile at that person? Why? What does the sight of my bank account do to me? Why do I treat my child like that? What is really my relationship with my husband? Why am I following this particular routine? Why do I get agitated upon hearing a few words? This is spirituality, going into this. You may be a master of the scriptures, yet if you do not know why you start trembling when you see that particular number in your missed call list, then you know nothing. This moment-to-moment attentiveness. Why do I wear these kind of clothes? Why do I quickly accept something? And when I say why, remember, I am not asking you to reason out something or get to the cause of something. This why that I am referring to is more of a what. I'm just using the word why for emphasis. You can come to a why only when you first know what is happening. Only when I know that something is there, that I can ask for its reason. And when you know that something is there, then often asking for a reason becomes immaterial. You do not want any reason. Just knowing that it is there in that way reduces the influence of that thing on the mind. And when the mind has been cleared of influences, that is what you call as Atman. The pure mind itself is the truth, the self, the pure self. Not something that the mind perceives, the mind itself. And this distinction is so easy to miss. Not a place that you go to, that which enables your movement, that which is the essence of the place and the essence of your knowing. Forget the truth. Go close to the false. Going close to the false would remain impossible as long as you are calling it the false. Because if something is false, how can you, the pure one, go close to it? You will say, I am too pure to touch this thing. It is false. I know I am jealous, but I also know that I am pure self. Me being pure self, how can I acknowledge the fact of my jealousy? Sir, if you are jealous, then that's what you are, jealous. Forget everything about pure self. Yes, the books might have told you that Satchidanand is your nature. But what is it that you are experiencing right now? You are burning in anger, in resentment, in jealousy. Now, why are you parroting to yourself that you are Satchidanand? You are a petty mind consumed by comparison and hence jealousy. So forget Satchidanand for a while. See how your mind is really operating. Go to the fact, and when you go close to the fact, the gates of truth open up for you. In going close to jealousy, you will go beyond jealousy. But if you avoid the fact of jealousy and start seeking the truth, surely there is no truth for you, and jealousy will keep possessing more of you. It is sad that often the more advanced we become in what we call as our sadhana, the more investments we have put in what we call as our spiritual practice, the more difficult it becomes for us to acknowledge that we still compare, that we are still envious. Because if even after 20 years of sadhana, I am still envious, then it is proven beyond doubt that my 20 years have gone waste. So I will not at all want to close to the fact of my mind, to the real living fact of my situation. I will say that since 20 years I have sought the truth, I have read the scriptures, I have even become a teacher. I will talk about all this. But I will not talk about how I am still restless in the nights. I will not talk about that. Because confessing that would mean that my ways have not only been wrong, but they continue to be wrong, and what's worse, I don't have the guts to change them. Go close to the simple matters of life. I'm repeating that again and again. See what your relationship to a leaf is. See what your relationship to a flower is. See what your relationship to a dead plant is. See what is the relationship you have to the pests in your house. See what is your relationship with food. See what happens to you in a shopping mall. See how your behavior changes over the weekends compared to weekdays. See whether there is a division between your work life and your spiritual life. Go into these things and forget everything about the transcendental. The transcendental does not depend upon you to be remembered. The transcendental can take care of itself. God is not demanding from you any kind of worship. You do what you must do, and that is godliness.